So, hi everyone, and happy International Women's Day. I'm here with Courtney, and we're going to be chatting about adoptive, about Courtney's career, and the culture at adoptive. Thank you to adoptive for being supportive. They've been sponsoring some of my conferences, not just women tech conferences, but other tech conferences that I've organized in the past. So, welcome, Courtney. All right.
Hello. Sorry.
So welcome, Courtney, and good morning. You're in New Jersey, and I'm in London.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Yep, bright and early in New York, New Jersey area. I represent Adaptive. I'm the UX practice lead in North America. So looking forward to chatting with you.
Great, great. Okay, so do you want to maybe just briefly talk about the company, Adaptive? I had a chat with your CEO, Matt, a few months ago, so I have a bit of an idea. But yeah, we want our audience to kind of know about the company
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
more.
Yeah. So at Adaptive, we are actually, a solution provider where we go in and we design and develop different solutions for everyone in fintech, large banks, small fintechs. We've developed over 100 different solutions for different trading platforms, full-fledged, everything from building exchanges to building, RFQ type trading platforms and everything in between.
Okay, yeah, sounds very interesting. I used to work for Citigroup, which is a financial company, so I'm sure some of the technologies you probably are like building are being used by by institutions like Citigroup. Okay, so in simple terms, who are your customers, and how do you actually like help them? I mean, in your role, you probably have internal and external customers, right? Or maybe it's all internal. Do you want to just briefly talk about that?
So from like a UX team perspective, we've got, we're very client facing. So we've got, like I said, a lot of different clients. Every project is very different. It's cool. Like some people come to us and say, we have only a few weeks to come up with a really, creative thing that we need to like pitch for, more, and say they need more funding or something like that. So they want to kind of come up with an idea and work with us to design that. So we do like these early stage workshops where we jump in, do discovery with the client to figure out what they want, and then from there we start designing a solution, usually do some rapid prototyping and come up with something that they're happy with, and then they can share their stakeholders. So that's kind of like one flavor of like something we do, and then every project is very different, right? So then we have other clients who sometimes it's a longer term engagement. We're in there for a few years and we're building out the whole platform, so we're doing like iterative agile design sprints and things like that, where we do the workshopping up front, and then it's more of incrementally building out the functionality from a design, and then we hand it off to our developers, and then they would build out the solution.
Oh, interesting. So, what's your approach to innovation, and how is it unique in the sector that the company is in?
So for innovation, for me particularly, that I feel like that's like my entire my entire job is innovating, right? So yeah, I'm really into the early stage workshops, and with being remote and everything, we've had to be really innovative, come up with tools and ways to extract requirements from the clients. Because it's not like we can't be in a room and in whiteboard together and workshop together, and same with the other designers that we work with. We're kind of located all over the place right now. So we've come up with a lot of different tools and approaches where we can actually, we can whiteboard virtually in real time. We do a lot of, hangout and chat via Slack, via Zoom, Teams, whatever, the client's using. And it's just a lot of real time collaboration, like we're talking right now, and just kind of trying to figure that out and going from there. And I think, at first when the pandemic started, I think we kind of were like, oh no, how are we going to be able to workshop, virtually? And like within a matter of like weeks, we were able to kind of shift, figure it out. And now I personally can't picture workshopping in person now, because I'm so used to, I have
Yeah.
my little sticky notes, and like the client can actually be typing in the same at the same time, and we can like put, our virtual whiteboard together and build out like user journeys and workflows and things like that in real time, and we can share it across the organizations really quickly. So it's definitely been kind of an interesting way to innovate and adapt, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we all learn new ways of working together, virtually. Um, And I think some of us, are gonna miss, as you said, some of us are probably gonna miss this approach when companies start saying, you all have to go back to the office now.
Yeah.
So
So
it's gonna be an adjustment for a lot of us.
luckily, hybrid. We're in like a hybrid model, so if you want to go back into the office, you can. We do have some people. Like last night, actually, we had I think like 12 people in the office for New York, which is
Okay.
pretty cool. And they had wings, drinks, like all they had a happy hour and stuff like that. And it's like it's crazy. It's like oh that everyone that wasn't there was like oh I missed that being able to go in and just collaborate. So I think it's definitely that hybrid model of working where you can go in, you can collaborate in person when you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely cool. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So, speaking of innovation, What are you most excited about in terms of technology?
Yeah, so I think I'm really excited. For me personally, we work a lot on, creative like innovative technologies in general. Um and I've never the previous companies I worked at, I was using very like outdated technology, things like that. From a design perspective at Adaptive, we use the newest tools, so Figma. I'm a huge fan, and we are really like exploring and trying to get the most out of using that. So being able to, start something at the beginning of a design process, like right away, and get it into like a high fidelity mockup and then prototype it within a matter of like days is really cool. And I think that, I mean, for us to really show what we can do in there, it's really cool. And making the move from like Sketch to Figma, where you can do that all in one, is like a really, really cool, innovative tool that we've been using. And then also from like the development side of things, like when we work with our developers, they're using tools, like Finsample, like those sort of like different technologies that really help kind of bring everything to life and be able to have that interop desktop, which I don't know, I'm fascinated by being able to have all these different widgets and different things where you can easily just, rip something up from one desktop to the other. And it really helps make trading platforms a lot cleaner and a lot easier to use. So that's kind of where I love that sort of stuff. Um, and it's fun to design for these complex problems as well.
So today's International Women's Day. I'm just curious, like how many like women are there in the team? Obviously, in terms of like the design and side of things, there's more women there in terms of the creative, or even in terms of like marketing teams and all that. But with tech teams, as we all know, the number of women is very low.
Yeah.
And this is why we're trying to highlight more women who are actually in tech, so that it will encourage other women to get into tech as well. So I'm just curious about adaptive in terms of like diversity with regards to gender and all that.
Yeah, so I actually asked this to someone on our HR team yesterday. Because when I was thinking through, like what I was gonna say when we talk about diversity, gender, that sort of thing, and they're like, "Oh, not that great, but we could do better on it." So we have about 15% of Adaptive is women, which in my opinion, is better than some other tech companies. But yeah, definitely a lot of room to grow and improve. So I think that comes down to when we're hiring and developing different people, getting more, maybe it's starting with like when we do education and getting the grads in. We have a grad program, more grads that are female, or things, different ways to kind of start people off young in thinking that they can be a female in tech, and especially in finance. That's a whole nother challenge in itself. um, it's predominantly male, and something that we definitely can improve and work on, and we could, yeah, definitely grow in that area. I personally find it, challenging when you're working on a team with, in the industry, being a female. And it's just one of those things. I think that it comes with time, that you realize, okay, like this is what it is. So then you just kind of stand your ground and make the most of it. And then things start to change, and you see the impact of, being a female in, being a leader in the industry. And that really helps to grow like others' perspective, as well as, oh, okay, it's okay to have females in here, and that sort of thing. So just kind of leading by example and showing others that, maybe we should hire more females, and going from there.
Yeah, and I agree. It's we're all it's a continuous education, I guess. For every one of us, like we were all obviously not aware of the problem before, or we just didn't have like enough tools, and no, there's not enough discussion that's going on about it. But I think these days there's a lot more consciousness about the fact that yeah, we need to do something about it.
Mhm.
And we don't want to just talk about the problem, but we need to definitely be more practical and think of ways, how ways that companies can improve their gender ratio. So yeah, I'm glad that that company, I see a lot more companies doing that. And
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that Adaptive is looking into it as well.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about Adaptive too is like the founders, like the directors, they're all super open and like listening to whatever you have to say. So, if you did bring a challenge to them, they're ready to kind of act and figure out the solution for it. Obviously we've got a long way to go there, but we've done a diversity inclusion festival where we had like days and days of external speakers come in and talk about all different topics and things like that. Just to educate our employees and everything. And I think everyone learned so much from that. So I think they're going to continue to do different things like that to, educate our employees, educate themselves, and then
Yeah,
we'll continue to grow from there.
that's good. Yeah, yeah, because education is the key here.
Yeah,
And yeah, it will obviously bring us closer to us to I don't know what the end state should be. Should it really be like 50-50? Who knows what the right number is, but of course like 10%, 14% against the rest is obviously not the right number. Okay, so maybe we can talk about your career a little bit. How did you like get into tech? What inspired you to pursue this career path? So it's UX UI that you specialize in. So maybe you can talk
yeah,
about that as well. Do you wanna just
yeah.
share with your audience?
Yeah, so for me, I knew I wanted to be in tech from like I don't know, like high school. It's one of those weird things where it just clicks with me, and I just knew, I wanted to do something in tech. I was like learning how to code in high school and things like that, and really into design and at that time graphic design or whatever. And so that when I went to college, I definitely knew okay, I wanted major in graphic design, and I was very very focused on that. But then when you're in college and it's like, okay, like, all right, I've got a degree in graphic design. Now what? Like, what do you do with that? And there was so many different career paths. So I ended up, right out of college, I was like, oh, there's this job called like a UX designer. I'm like, what does that even mean? And I just took the chance and I was like, why don't I, try it out, see if I like it. And I actually just went right into the UX career path from there. And actually right into fintech as well. So I've been in fintech my whole career, where I started out doing mock-ups, wireframes, maybe more of like low fidelity like UX design, and then I moved more into the visual design side of things. Started to dabble a bit in coding and in front end development, and then I was like, I'd rather leave that to, leave that to the developers. And my sweet spot is more in doing the visual design and trying to gather the requirements, stuff like that. So I fast forward a few years, then I started Adaptive actually, a little over 4 years ago. So I think I was the fifth or sixth person actually in the New York office. So it was really cool. I was the first designer in New York. We started in this like little tiny WeWork building. There was like when I interviewed, there was only 3 people in a WeWork. Now we're in this like large office where we have over 50 people in the New York office. So it's been really cool to kind of see them grow, see myself grow like in Adaptive and everything. There's been so much change over the years. Um, in a positive way, and just seeing like Adaptive scale up is really cool, but still maintain the same exact culture that they've had from the beginning, where it's Adaptive was actually founded on four guys who liked working together, and they just want to create a company because they like working together. So that kind of mentality, like you see it definitely in the early days when in the New York office, but as we continue to grow, it's the same mentality. Like everyone loves working together, and we have really cool, teams and people and very talented people at Adaptive. So yeah, so that's kind of a mixture of like where I how I grew and also, adaptive growing over the past, 4 years. And then here I am this year. I became the UX practice lead for the team in the US. So it's really exciting for me to be able to now help grow the team. We're doing a lot of hiring and trying to find, more designers to join our team and really go from there. And we've got lots of exciting projects coming up.
Oh, so we encourage our, our audience to check out Adaptive's website. I believe it's weareadaptive.com, right?
Yes,
I
we are
can.
adaptive.com, and we are hiring a lot of people in New York. Well, a lot of people everywhere, but yeah, a lot of open roles in New York for sure to check out.
So where are the other offices? I know you have an office in London, here in London. And Matt, your CEO is here, right? And but where are the other teams? Is it just London and New York, or are there other
Yeah, we also
teams?
have Montreal and Barcelona. So yeah,
Okay.
we have the 4 offices, and we kind of have it where, you know, New York and London are kind of larger offices, and then we've got smaller offices in Montreal and Barcelona where a lot more developers and stuff sit. So our designers specifically are in the London and New York offices, but
Okay.
yeah.
I think if I'm to choose, I would probably choose Barcelona, although I'm in London, right?
Yeah.
Just because of the weather and the food.
Oh, right. I know. Warm weather would be nice. It's a bit cold here in New Jersey today.
Yeah, same here in London right now. So yeah. So can you tell us why the mission, vision, and values of the company speak to you personally?
Yeah, I think and I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but to me, one of the main things about adaptive, the whole idea of their whole mission behind it is like, great people working together, building like really cool, complex things. Um, they wanted to really foster this idea of like collaboration and innovation, and we touched on innovation a bit earlier. And having a culture and environment where you can actually really do that, I think is really important to me. Uh, the previous companies I've worked for and what I've seen in the industry, sometimes they don't value that collaboration and innovation so much. So being in a company where it's so innovative, so collaborative, and I'm like I literally can like just reach out to my another designer on my team and we can just whiteboard for hours and just like sketch things out and really like solutionize together is really cool for me. And it just goes to show like everyone is super willing to like help each other out and help each other grow.
Mhm.
um, so that's really I think part of their the mission that you can really exemplify as you start kind of working at adaptive and seeing how everyone like works and grows together, and the values that the founders had back I think it was 10 or so years ago when they started adaptive.
Mhm.
um the values are still like core to the process and to everyone that is working at adaptive today.
That's good. Yeah, that's great to hear. Okay. Do you have any advice for someone just starting with their career in UX? I mean, what do you think are the things that you should like focus on first if they're just really exploring this particular area of technology?
Okay, yeah, I think when you're starting out in UX, I think the key is to just, try to do a bit of everything because I'm coming to find like UX is such a broad term. We've got visual design, you can be doing UX research, you can do UX, just mock ups, you could do discovery phases, you could do usability testing. Like, there are so many different aspects of the whole UX umbrella. So just try a little bit of everything and then figure out what you like. At adaptive, it's weird because we kind of do it all. So you could find yourself liking everything and then go into a role similar to this where you're doing the whole end-to-end process. Or a lot of companies, you have specialists in each kind of area, so you can kind of figure out what you like. But I think the one thing for me is like I kind of stuck on the visual design side of things for a while at
Mhm.
the beginning of my career, and I didn't really explore like what is this, like what is discovery, like oh, there's all these cool workshopping. And that's actually my favorite part of UX now is kind of working with the clients to figure out the requirements and teasing that, out of them, and then going from discovery to through to like then creating the visuals. So I think the big thing is just try it all, try the different areas of design, and then figure out what you like, what your sweet spot is, and then go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure that will be useful to our audience, who's looking to getting into UX and getting into tech. So thank you for that, Courtney. And thank you again to Adaptive for sponsoring, the event, Techno Day on International Women's Day. And I really do hope that a lot more companies are looking into their diversity, efforts and improving, as they go along. And educating, as we said earlier, employees, and continually educating everyone in the company is, I think, a good goal, a good practice, to have. So thanks for that, and yeah, we'll see you again in another event.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. I really appreciate your time.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Take care.